We look at a lot of digital portfolios on this explainer, but today is something truly special. We're looking at the evolution of a development agency called WebArclight. And we aren't just going to rattle off a static list of websites. No, we are going to trace a genuine hero's journey of technological evolution. We're going to watch this agency grow from building super basic, fundamental websites all the way to architecting incredibly complex, multi-platform mobile and crypto ecosystems. It is literally a masterclass in how a modern tech agency scales up its capabilities.
Okay, let's dive into this. What we have here is a chronological story of massive technological growth, and it's told across 25 distinct projects. By charting these projects in order, we actually get to see in real time how a development team learns, adapts, and ultimately masters entirely new programming languages just to meet the crazy, ever-shifting demands of the modern internet. Just looking at the sheer scope of this agency's portfolio, their 25 projects span a really wide reach. They're dipping their toes into education, UI, UX, and even crypto platforms. But notice where they absolutely dominate. E-commerce with 6 projects and healthcare with 5. These two industries form the absolute backbone of their client base. And as we'll see, these are the exact sectors that force them to innovate the most. So here is our roadmap for this explainer, the 5 stages of their digital evolution. 1. Building the foundation. 2. The e-commerce expansion. 3. Specializing in healthcare apps. 4. Mastering management tools. And finally, 5. The modern tech era. Let's start with stage 1, building the foundation, covering projects 1 through 4. Every great builder has to build their own house first, right? We'll notice a trend in their first 4 projects. The agency built its core muscle by developing its own internal infrastructure first. They built the main WebArclight business site, their own careers page, their own blogs network, and even an internal learning management system they called WebArcLearn. And look at their tech stack. It's totally identical across the board. They relied heavily on the traditional, super reliable stack. HTML, CSS, JavaScript for the front end, and PHP with MySQL for the back end. It's a classic web developer's bread and butter, and it's exactly how they hone their skills before taking on any outside client risk. And this brilliantly illustrates the journey we're about to take. To really understand their evolution, you have to contrast that early stack with their modern stack. They go from traditional HTML and PHP to a completely different world of development featuring React.js, Node.js, Django, and MongoDB. Let's see how they managed to cross that chasm and make that extreme technical leap. Moving into stage 2, the e-commerce expansion, where they focused on scaling the digital storefront. Remember how I mentioned e-commerce forced them to innovate? Well, here's exactly how they adapted to client needs over time. Early on, with Project 6 for SG Jeans, they were building custom storefronts entirely from scratch using their trusty PHP and MySQL stack. But as they grew, they realized efficiency was absolutely key. By Project 8, for clients like Acai Paris and later Sudianch Fab, they shifted to leveraging the massive WordPress platform. And later still, by Project 20 for Houseopia, they fully transitioned into Shopify Mastery. They didn't just stubbornly stick to one way of doing things. They actively evolved their tools to match the specific retail needs of their clients, which let them scale up their output rapidly. And why was mastering these e-commerce platforms so absolutely crucial? Because out of the 25 total projects we are analyzing today, nearly a quarter of them are pure e-commerce. From SGS Jeans to the WebArclight internal store, all the way to Houseopia. Mastering digital retail was, for sure, a foundational pillar of their success. All right, stage 3, specializing in healthcare apps. This marks their major mobile pivot. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how WebArclight scaled a single brand across multiple, highly complex touchpoints. Instead of just building a website and calling it a day, they built an entire ecosystem for a client called Ask My Doc. Project 9 used an AI builder for the core web presence. Then, boom, they immediately jumped into mobile. Project 10 was a dedicated application specifically for patients, and Project 11 was a specialized app just for booking doctor appointments. They essentially built a 3-pronged digital machine. And to actually pull off that mobile pivot for Ask My Doc, they had to learn new tools. This is where they brought Flutter and Dart into their tech stack. Flutter is a really powerful development framework, and Dart is the programming language that runs it. By adopting these, WebArclight wasn't just building web pages anymore. They were building robust, native Android healthcare applications available directly on the Google Play Store. A huge step up. Which brings us to stage 4, mastering management tools. Dashboards and automation. Now, back-end operations for B2B businesses require entirely different architectural thinking than a sleek mobile app. Looking at their management projects, they built SmartVet for dashboard management, BillArc to handle really sensitive billing and GST functions, and AMS to manage employee attendance and tasks. What's fascinating here is that to build these highly secure, incredibly systemized business operations, they actually went back to their roots. They relied on that battle-tested, rock-solid HTML, PHP, and MySQL stack. But they were never afraid to experiment, even in this management space. Get a load of Project 16, a management tool called One Meal. The tech stack they utilized was simply WhatsApp automation bot, DigitalOcean. No way, right? This highlights an incredible branch in their evolution. They moved way beyond just building web portals and actually integrated messaging automation, deploying the whole shebang on specialized cloud hosting environments like DigitalOcean. It shows a ton of creative flexibility. And that launches us into Stage 5, the modern tech era. Full-stack frameworks and wildly varied industries. To meet the intense demands of modern web applications, WebArclight completely overhauled their architecture. Let's break this modern stack down logically. Step 1. They totally abandoned simple HTML in favor of dynamic, component-based front ends built purely with React.js. Step 2. They swapped PHP for incredibly powerful backends powered by Node.js and Python's Django framework. And Step 3. They moved away from relational MySQL databases to handle massive, flexible data scaling using MongoDB. This combination, it's the holy grail that allows for ultimate scalability in today's web landscape. And this modern architecture fueled their most diverse, cutting-edge projects yet. Just look at the incredible leap here. They are jumping from an education platform like Eduverse straight into health consultation with EduConsult and Siwala. And then, in a massive pivot, building TajPay, a literal crypto platform. What unifies these wildly different, super complex industries? It's their absolute mastery of this new React and MongoDB stack. Basically, they can build anything for anyone now. So the crucial point is really summed up right here. The PHP and MySQL era laid the absolute groundwork for their agency, accounting for 13 of their 25 projects. It is how they learned the ropes. But the modern React era with 5 highly advanced projects and the mobile Flutter era with 3 dedicated applications clearly represent their future. Yet, as with any truly great story, everything eventually comes full circle. For their 25th project, they took on Bijdal. It's an e-commerce application, which takes them right back to their most successful industry. But this time, it's not some basic PHP website. Bijdal is built using Flutter and Dart, and it's a fully realized app sitting right there on the Apple App Store. It just proves they're still out there utilizing their hard-earned mobile expertise to conquer the retail spaces of today. Which leaves us with this final thought. We've watched them evolve from building basic internal landing pages to architecting robust ecosystems spanning healthcare, digital retail, education, and cryptocurrency. They've conquered AI builders, complex mobile deployments, and full-stack React environments. So the only question left for a development agency that simply refuses to stop learning is, what industry will they transform next? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this chronological deep dive helped you visualize exactly what digital scaling looks like in the real world. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.